Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. I have a great blend for you guys today. So it's already made and I can't wait to get started. So first thing I'm going to talk about a little bit. I am slightly ashamed that it's been over 100 episodes and I haven't touched this one yet. It's such a basic commodity. See what I did there? No. It's been a while since I did a tea pun. But anyway, yeah, it's such a commodity. Welcome, Herman and Snea. Welcome. It's such a common green tea that it's actually like I should have hit this up long ago. But without further ado, today I will be doing gunpowder. Now, gunpowder is a Chinese green tea, and it's definitely one that is very, very popular. It's one of the basic green teas. There we go. And it's very well known in China, very well known in the U.S. It's used in a lot of blends, mostly loose leaf, because of the way that it looks. But I'll tell you I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. First, take a look. Where in China does it come from? See, that's the thing. Like, it's very common in China. I don't know where specifically gunpowder comes from, because it's so common that it comes from basically everywhere. Um, excuse me. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. But first, take a look at the color on this. Now you could tell by the color that this is a very rich, very dark green. So you're gonna get a lot of flavor out of this. But the way that it looks is actually a little bit different from what you would expect. Kiara, welcome. It wouldn't be what you'd expect from a general green tea, but I will show you now what it looks like. The reason it's called gunpowder is because of the shape. It's all separated into like balls and pellets, and that's where the name comes from. Because gunpowder, when it's made and produced, it looks like large pellets. So it has the shape. Let me pull out one so that you can get a better look. It's curled up and tightened. Whoa. One almost got away from me. It's stuck in that little crack. But as you can see, it's a very dark green tea. This is the best I can do. It's getting away from me. Okay, hold on. There we go. All right, now I got a couple of them. So you see, it's natural. It's you can see by the color, it's a very, very dark green, as opposed to a lighter green. So that means it's been oxidized a little bit longer. Generally, gunpowder is oxidized for about, like, I would say maybe 30%, which is just about the highest that you can get without turning it into an oolong. And speaking of oolongs, you can see how it's very similar to the way an oolong looks physically. So when an oolong is made, if it's made in Thailand. I always say Taiwan, or is it Taiwan? No, I always forget it. I always get the two confused. Carmen, welcome. But when it's made in Taiwan, yes, I was brain farting there. Thanks for that. When it's Taiwanese, they roll it up into a ball, and they keep it dry so that it opens up as it's steeped. Same thing with this. It's very similar, and this is what it looks like after it's steeped. You can see the leaves have opened up quite a bit in comparison. It's still slightly curled, so you can tell, you could probably get a second steep out of it. What I did was I steeped it at 180 degrees for 3 minutes, and it's mostly opened, but not completely. So you can see that you'll get a little bit more flavor out of that if you steep it again. I would do this again probably at the same temperature, but the second time I would do it at for just 2 minutes, so I don't oversteep and make it bitter. Because as you guys know, green tea can be very bitter after it's oversteeped. Okay, so enough about that portion of it. Does it mention the grade on the packet? That I'm not sure of. We got this in Arizona. I don't see a. Oh, it's grade 1. Okay, cool. This is grade 1, so that's very high quality, which I'm thankful for because I love a good green tea. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk a little bit about the taste. Okay, first things first. You guys know the what was that? An example of 3505 AAA is considered the highest grade, while 9375 is lower grade. Oh yeah, absolutely. That is more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's more inside talk. Does it explode if you put it in a fire? Probably not. Although I wouldn't waste good gunpowder tea by burning it. And welcome, Rob. I didn't see you come in. Glad that you could join us. So my first impressions of this gunpowder is extremely vegetal, which people who love green teas generally go for because this tea is very grassy, usually very strong, very slightly smoky. This one smells like it's going to be very vegetal and quite strong, but it doesn't smell overpowering. So I'm going to go ahead and take my first sip, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, yeah, that's very nice, very smooth. The way that it goes down, it's not it's not punch in the face strong, which sometimes you can get from a. And Zam, welcome. Sorry, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to wait too long to welcome you to the chat. But sometimes when you get a nice strong gunpowder and you steep it for a little bit longer, because it's rolled up, you can steep it a little bit longer or at a higher temperature, but I wouldn't do both. Anyway, you could get a really strong gunpowder tea that will give you everything that you want in a gunpowder. You know, you get that strong vegetal, you get that strong smokiness. This one is really smooth, and it goes down well. It doesn't explode in your face, if that's what you're asking, Rob. I know you weren't, but just using that somehow. And you get a nice roundful flavor. So it dates back to the Tang Dynasty, between 618 and 907. And it was first introduced to Taiwan in the 19th century. Gunpowder leaves, tea leaves are withered, steamed, rolled, and dried, although it says see more. There we go. Although the individual leaves were formerly rolled by hands, today the highest grade of gunpowder are rolled by machines. I guess that's, I mean, rolling by machines. I guess it's more of an exact science. It's never going to be an exact science, but you have I don't know, I just prefer the authenticity of a hand rolled. I mean, that's just me. But to me, I would imagine that the person who's rolling it by hand has more of a judgment call to know how long to roll each leaf. But, you know, you also have people who know the machines and know what to look for so that as it rolls, they know when to turn it off. So it's a toss-up. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you can't really tell anyway. But I don't know. Just I'm one for tradition, you know. So right now, I'm getting a little bit of a saltiness to it. Not very profound, but it's there on the sides of my tongue. and I get like an overall vegetal, a little bit of grass, a little bit of carrot. I'm getting a little bit of carrot in there, and already since it was steeped at a lower temperature than normal, it's starting to cool off a little bit. So I'm getting more. I'm getting more of a flavor profile behind each sip. So right now I'm tasting a lot of the vegetable saltiness, and it's very soft, texture wise, a little bit watery. It doesn't coat the tongue, which, I mean, for some green teas that's a good thing, because if you're not a green tea fan, um, but there's one that coats the tongue, the flavor stays on there longer, and then you're just kind of stuck with this kind of flavor to it, and it's not fun. Like it took me a while to get used to uh, green teas, because when I first started, I was already used to Lipton, which, but as I grew into it, I started on traditional black teas and rooibos. Rooibos was like my all time fave when I first started. But then, learning about more and more teas and sampling more and tasting here and there, I've grown to appreciate especially green teas, because green teas were my least favorite of the five when I first started. But now, I can really appreciate the chlorophyll to it, because that's the one that tastes the most. I don't want to say it's grassy, but it's the one that tastes the most like grass, depending on which kind. This one isn't too grassy. I would, if you prefer a grassier flavor, I would go specifically with a Chinese tea, a Chinese green tea that hasn't been oxidized as much. So I would go with like a Pilachan or a excuse me, Pilachan, or what's another Chinese green tea? There was a Sleeping Dragon. That's the one. Sleeping Dragon is pretty good. Golden Monkey, no, not Golden Monkey, White Monkey. I always get those confused. The Golden Monkey is a black tea. White Monkey is a green tea. But yeah, like those that have been oxidized less tend to be more on the grassy side, and those can be pretty good as well. So, talking a little bit about the production of the Chinese, you have a different set completely when you have a Japanese green tea. Now, for those who have been paying attention, Japanese green teas tend to be straighter. I mean, I hate to use that word, because you have the leaf itself, and how it's cut, how it's produced, but you get a more stiff, longer leaf. It's kind of more similar to a blade of grass than this is. This has been twirled and steamed and stuff like that. But the way that Japanese green teas are produced, mainly steamed, oxidized pretty well, usually up there between 25 and 30%. And they have more of like a seaweed kind of flavor to them because of the environment that they're grown in. It's generally grown closer to the ocean, so it absorbs all the seawater and gives off a seaweed saltier kind of taste. And depending on which brand, which blend you use, it can get a little creamy. So when you get something like a what's the word I'm looking, not Girokuro. When you use a Girokuro, a really good Girokuro, especially if they use it in matcha, you get a kind of a grassier a grassier flavor, which is unlike a Japanese green tea generally. but you get like the full essence of the ground from that. So this kind of tea is more on the earthy side than the Japanese green teas, and those are like, I mean, there's beauty in all the leaves. I'm telling you. So now I'm doing the tasting method where I drink and then breathe out through my nose, so I get that second helping. And I'm finding something interesting. When I breathe out, I'm tasting. It's like the taste expands with my breath. If that makes any sense. When I keep my mouth closed and I don't breathe out through my mouth, so the air kind of just expands and gives me a second helping. And in that second helping, I'm getting more of a saltier kind of flavor to it. It's still soft. It's still very smooth, but uh, it's really enticing. That's the word I want to say, because this kind of a tea is savory, and it's the kind of tea that you can really sit back and enjoy, and if you're inclined to think about and really feel like this whole engagement in your mouth. The way that I like to taste teas is kind of like forming a relationship. You know, you drink, you taste, you see what you like about it, what you dislike about it, and you know, you really get a handle of what you're drinking. And sometimes you're not going to like a tea the first time you drink it, which is fine. You know, there are some teas out there that you'll never like. There's some teas that'll just grow on you one day and you learn to appreciate it. But that's the beauty of exploration. You know, you give it another shot, you taste it as much as you like, and see where it goes. And you know, I'm glad I did that with green tea, because I was not a fan at first, but now I can appreciate the nuances that each cup can give you. Mm. Okay, so I'm going to open up the floor. Questions, comments, anything you want to know, want to ask. Now's the time. Teresa, she's not here, but I'm going to answer her question as I always do. What would I pair this with? Um, and what I would say, since it's grassy, um, and already it's pretty savory, I would keep the food light. Maybe do like a pasta salad, or something with a light sauce, not marinara, because marinara tends to be very savory, tends to be very flavorful, but I don't think that it would blend well with this grassy kind of flavor. Um, Traditionally, Chinese food, you know, I mean, that's you're going to get it. Whenever you go to a Chinese restaurant, they generally serve green tea. Um, Specifically, what kind of Chinese food? That would be the question. Ooh, excuse me. I would keep it light. Maybe like a rice dish, white rice dish. You know, keep it simple. Um, okay, so I've got about 10 minutes left. So I want to talk a little bit about the announcements that are coming up. I'm glad we have some new faces here, because we are looking for new faces. Tomorrow we will be having our first virtual online tea party. It's open to everybody, so whoever wants to come in, just bring a cup of tea. We'll talk about the tea. We'll talk about your day. We'll have a good time. Shoot the breeze. Um, this is a little bit of an experiment, I have to say, because I've never done anything like this before. But it feels fitting to get to know each other better on the community, because that's essentially what it's about. It's about bringing people together, learning about tea, drinking it, and just having a great time. So I've posted the link. I think it was on Wednesday. I'll post it again tomorrow, about a couple of hours before the tea party starts. and we'll take it from there. You may or may not have tea. You may drink coffee. Doesn't matter. We'll talk about that. No judgment here. Excuse me. But it's going to be more about, getting to know each other and coming together and really just having a good time. It's only going to be about 45 minutes, something like that. Because I'm using Zoom and they only allow... Oh, excuse me. They only allow that much. So... Oh, excuse me. This was... Oh, okay, this is bad. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that got rid of it. I hate it when that happens. And it has happened on occasion, so, what am I going to do? Natural bodily functions. But anyway, so yeah, tomorrow's virtual tea party, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have people meeting each other for the first time, and I think it's going to be a blast. So I will go ahead and send you guys the link via the chat. I mean, not the chat, the group. I will chat certain people who express interest and request a reminder. So if you're interested and you want a reminder, let me know. I'll send you the link personally so you don't forget. Yeah, that's that's that. Also, I think I've spoken about this before. I want to have another raffle, but I'm doing things a little bit differently. Before, I used to say, okay, if you're interested in a raffle, sign up at the raffle link, and I'll pick a name at random. The site that I was using has not worked in months, and I was trying to figure out a good way to get people re-involved in that without relying on the site. So what I'm thinking is that from here on in, if you want to join the raffle, I'll do that live on one of my streams, and you guys will just have to comment if you're interested in getting the prize, whatever the prize may be, and I'll just do the raffle live. So that being said, I'll probably set one up either next week or the week after. I want to see what interesting things are coming out, and once I find a really good prize, then I'll let you know what it is. I'll let you know how to enter, and we'll take it from there. All right. So, questions, comments, anything you want to know? Now's the time to ask. I have got maybe 2-3 sips left, but I'm waiting a little by little to give you guys a chance to strike up a conversation. Oh, excuse me. No, it's not Corona. I've just been coughing for the past couple months. I'm fine, I promise. What else? Okay. Anyway, I'm running out of out of a little bit of steam here. So go ahead. Questions, comments. Now's the time. Okay, well, it looks like you guys are pretty quiet, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. So I'm going to see you guys I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully. I'll see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, have a great weekend, a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.